Hello viewers and subscribers, welcome once again the continuation of the previous screencast. We already discussed about the continuous integration, continuous deployment in context to the Spring Boot application, right? REST service application with the proper database migration tool like Flyway and Liquibase. The last screencast I already discussed about how can you can deploy the Spring Boot applications, REST service application with the Docker and Docker Compose based deployment. And also before that one I already discussed about how can you also deploy the application with the standalone jar file based deployment. That's I mean how can the deployment process, that's here I discuss here the different deployment process that's I already discussed. You can just simply build the versions, and you need to be build a respective service set service and service call and service identification service start, and then application should start automatically. That's I mean this is the previous standalone jar files, as you said, all the respective values, the version, which environments and database connectivity information and username and password and so on and so forth. And then after that just you need to be call the service with the standard java.jar commands, and it's work automatically. So then the next one was the discussion was like that. The next one was here in the deployment process. If I go to the deployment process like Docker and Kubernetes, Docker and the Docker Compose file. This is a very simple, exactly the same structure. If I look for these files and the notepad, and you see you need the environmental settings, all the exactly the environmental settings, and then we need a Docker Compose file and Docker files, and this is the very simple Docker files, the version number, and then you need the Docker Compose files. Then this is the definition of the Docker Compose files, and then all the environmental globally or externally deployed applications with the Docker and Docker Compose configurations. So those are the new in the channels that follow the previous screencast, and I am continuing the screencast for the how can you deploy the same application with the Docker and Kubernetes applications. Of course, the main focus is to discuss with you the database migration tools. So it has a different possibility. So that means you have a direct database migrations with the Flyway, or you can have a migrations with the Liquibase. The previous screencast, what we all deployment done by the Docker and Docker Compose file, it was the Flyway based database deployments. Version migration database migration systems. This was these applications, exactly all the migration script is there, just is the migration script, and it's systematically designed and it is done. The previous screencast just you can follow how it is done, how it is programmed. And now today we try to discuss about the possibility to how can you deploy the same application with the Liquibase database migration tools. That's I discussed theoretically how is the difference between the Liquibase and Flyway migration database migration system tools. It's only difference between the format. So in the Flyway, normally it is done by the SQL script, and then the Liquibase case, it has a many possibility. If I go to the Flyway case, you see only the SQL format is supported with the proper structure like DB and migrations, and this is the class path locations where when the Spring Boot applications started to read the application.properties files, and you look for your script, your database version number, how many version you need. It's just like this is the default class path directory location for the application where they has to be look for the your script versions that are script. For the Liquibase case, there is a possibility that you can also script as like a SQL script. You have a XML, you have a JSON, you have a JSON. Other format is also supported. For what I did, just like I take the very simple cases, I take the same my Flyway script, SQL script, database migration SQL script, and put it into the Liquibase script, just like it is as a profession. The same structure, you see exactly the same structure in Liquibase case. Let's open this one to discuss. So if I go to the same database structure, so it is exactly the same, all the table definitions and then the foreign key primary key relationships. That's what we define into the model part. Those are in new. Please follow the previous screencast. There is a discussion how it is implemented, it is done. So you just follow this one, the previous screencast, and you get clear idea how it is prepared, how it is implemented. And then we can go to the model. So it says based on the model, so we define the sequences, we define the additional new tables, new requirements, and then we add also additional constraint of the tables or new sequences. So this, I can say, this is very initial stage. Like we deploy the application like 5 times or 4 times. For this release, and then maybe this application lifetime, maybe we have a 50 version of the database migrations, and then in the real time, and that's a real time application, maybe needed more versions of database migrations. And because of the enterprise application, we need it as an enterprise application. That's I said, enterprise application normally is containing hundreds of database versions, migrations, script, and it is works systematically, because that's I said it is the really professional way what we did in the professional life every day. So here is all the database migration script as for the model definitions, how it is done. And then this is the master files. You can say here the definition of the how many versions you run the database migration to create this migration script, to create the database migration process. So if I go to the database migration process, you see there is a database migrations, all the tables, database schema log and schema logbacks, and then all the sequences, all the tables that we created. I will show you how can you start this testing, how can you do it, like how can you run it the application and this works automatically. I will show you. So this is the recap, how you start your script. Your script, you integrate your script based on your release versions, and out of these release versions you one by one you add your additional scripts, because this is the 2 Liquibase structure, and then other one is the Flyway structure, 2 different structure to look for the class file. If I go to the application.yml files, you see I defined here your Liquibase changelog files, the class file, dv the database changelog files, and dv the changelog master.yml file. This is the master files. When the application is started, it looking for your database migration script from this structure, this folder. This is the default structure. If you have a different structure and you have to be passed as argument, or pass to the command line argument, or look for your path of the or variable. Now, normally standard cases as an enterprise level application or any professional application, that's the structure how it is done. It is professionally designed. So that means you define all the scripts, you define the application.yml file, where is the class file, your script file located, and additional informations. And those are new in the channels. I already discussed about how can you integrate the Swagger UI for the REST API documentation or generations, or you can also Swagger. How can you test this REST API with the Swagger UI? So follow my channel, the screencast number 66 numbers, and I discuss really more all the possibility to deploy the application is to know jar file based deployments or Docker Compose based deployments, and also the Docker and Kubernetes based deployment, what I am discussing now here. And this all the integration, how can you same REST APIs, the API, how can you test with Swagger UI, and how can you design the Swagger UI. That's I mean here is Swagger. If I look for the Swagger UI, you see exactly the professional structure we discuss here, the professional way to how it is done. 1.2.16 is running, and who is created, all the endpoint definitions, and then you have all the schema definition of your database and your models, and so on and so forth. Everything is properly Swagger plotted. Because I say this is the really professional way we handle our lot of microservice applications. This handled like that way. So that's why I say this is professional way. Those are new into this developments. The beginner fresher, it is really hard to understand. But if you follow my channels really from very beginning level to the end level, you can really get a clear picture how it is done, how it is need to be implemented. That's I mean. So you got the idea. So we need really our database script models, and we need to be built. We need to be programs our application, the YAML files. Then after that we need to be program it like this. How can you Docker and Kubernetes application need to be deployed? I will show you later this part, how we discuss later.